So today I went kayaking on this really cool river. And as I was going down it, I was starting to get a little nervous. I've never been kayaking down a river before. And this guy that a lot of you know, his name is Donald Macon. He goes to church here at Stone Ridge. He was with us. And Donald Macon, if you know anything about him, he loves to go down the river in a kayak. And so he's been down a whole bunch of rivers, fast rivers and slow rivers and all kinds of rivers. And he took us out today, myself and my parents. He took us down this river. And so having him there with us was really cool. But still, as we're going down this river, we're getting close to like this swift water. And I could see the white in the water, because when the water gets really fast, it creates a white little top on top of it. So that's how fast the water was moving, to have these big white tops on there, and it's moving really fast. And as we're getting close to it, I start to flip out a little bit, but I can see Donald in the distance. I could see that he was there. And before we got started, Donald told us a lot of tips. He told us a whole bunch of different ways to paddle with our paddles and to move the kayak. And so as we're going down this river, and it's so cool and it's so pretty, but the water starts getting really fast. And so we're coming close to this fast part, and there's this big rock over here, and the water's moving faster than the rock, and I start getting close to the rock, and I'm paddling as hard as I can, but my kayak gets turned and my kayak is stuck on this rock. And I can see Donald coming towards me, and Donald's like, "Hold your sunglasses," because my sunglasses were on my face and they weren't attached. And so Donald said, "Hold your sunglasses," because Donald thought I was just going to be turned over. But I got close to that rock, and my kayak was hitting the rock, and so I clung to the rock really tight so that I wouldn't flip. And Donald is in my ear at this point, giving me some tips and saying some stuff. And he made it a lot easier when he says, "You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing." And so I'm holding onto this rock, and finally he was able to help me push myself away from the rock and go around and use the fast moving water to kind of go down into it. But the whole time Donald was there. The whole time I knew that he was going to be right there with me, telling me what to do. And so as we, at the beginning of the day today, as we were, well, now you're watching it on Sunday, but yesterday, at the beginning of the day, Donald told us a whole bunch of things. And I know, because Donald's my friend, that he has done this a whole bunch. And so all I need to do was listen to whatever he said. And even if I were to fall out of my kayak, he would be right there helping me get through those fast moving rapid waters. And so when I was about to flip my kayak, and even Donald said, "Amy, I thought you were about to flip out of that kayak," he was right there in his own kayak, helping me, giving me pointers, telling me what to do. So we get down the river a little bit more, and Miss Ginger, my mom, she did flip in her kayak, and I saw it, and there was nothing I could do because I'm not experienced. So I just kept right on going down the river. But Donald, when he saw Miss Ginger about to flip, he turned his kayak around really fast in an expert move and was able to help Miss Ginger. She did fall out of her kayak, but she's fine and everything is okay. And mostly because Donald Macon was right there, the expert kayaker, helping Miss Ginger not float completely down the river. And so he was there. Much like Donald taught us how to use our kayaks, guided us down the river, and helped us when we got caught in rapids, Jesus commands our lives and gives us direction. It would have been easy to let fear control me when I got stuck on the rock, but I looked to the expert and trusted him. When we look to Jesus, who is always there, we trust him to control and direct our lives. Today, Pastor Brett taught us from Mark chapter 4 when Jesus calms the storm, and he said that we need to live a life of faith even when God seems or feels silent. When the disciples were on that boat with Jesus, then the storm came. Jesus was asleep on a cushion in the front of the boat. The front of the boat, the stern, is where the boat is controlled. It's where the boat gets its direction from. And so Jesus was on a cushion, where kind of like where a captain would be in the boat. boat and he was asleep. And when the storm came, the disciples were terrified and they were confused as to why their leader, the one who's supposed to be commanding the ship, why he would be asleep. And what they forgot was that Jesus is in control of all things. What they forgot was where Jesus was in that boat. They knew that he was asleep on a cushion, but they forgot the position and the authority that he has as captain and commander of the boat. And so when the disciples were terrified, they immediately tried to wake Jesus up. And instead of trusting their leader who was asleep in the boat, they were completely afraid of what the storm could do to them. We need to live a life of faith that remembers the position of God in our lives. That no matter what happens, whether he seems silent or not, God is there and he is in control and he is in complete power and authority over our lives. So much like I was on that river and was looking for Donald when I thought I was about to flip. I was looking for Donald Macon, the kayak expert, because I knew that he knew better than me how to not flip this kayak. Much like that, we should look for Jesus in our lives. We should depend on him and lean on him and remember the power and position of God in our lives, living a life of faith. And that's not always easy. It's kind of hard. In a couple of seconds, you're going to get some discussion questions to talk about that. Like, when is it hard to trust in God? Or what do you do when you are afraid or worried about something? So spend a couple of minutes reading that story again in Mark chapter 4, and then discuss as a family these questions. Jesus is in command not of just the storm, not just our lives, but of everything. He is the expert. And because he created all things, it just makes sense that he controls and commands all things. We should trust him no matter what. Pause the video and read Mark 4:35 through 41 together. Discussion questions. When is it hard to trust God? What do you do when you're scared or worried? Who or what are you looking to for direction? What placement does God truly have in your life? Remember, Jesus has everything under control even when we're scared. Jesus is more powerful than anyone or anything. He loves us and will never leave us. Jesus is close even when he feels far away. We should trust him. Your family activity for this video is to do something adventurous this week. Go out on a hike or look for a certain type of beetle or leaf. Do something adventurous together as a family this week. Get out of your house, put electronics down, stop watching so many movies, talking to myself because I watch a lot of movies. But your family activity that I want to encourage you to do, I don't really have a way to hold you accountable to that, but I want to encourage you to do something adventurous, do something courageous, do something that kind of gets you out of your comfort zone a little bit, and all the while trust in God, living a life of faith.